morning now. Yay. Okay, fantastic. But real Shabbat Shalom to those who are really much closer to Shabbat than I am right this second. In California, you've got at least 3 more hours to get to Shabbat than I do. But I am so, so excited to be here with everybody. And here's what I'll tell you. I know Mara is going to help share the screen. I'm also a person that always likes to look ahead because I cheat the system sometimes. And so I'm going to put the link into the chat as well. But what I'll say is this is not just going to be a me talking at you for 45 minutes because I can't. And also my voice is going to run out. And so you're going to have a lot of fun working with me in the chat today, I hope. And we're going to explore and get to just be together for Parashat Ekev, which is, I think, one of the most fun portions because, right, it talks about the idea that we might be able to have all of the nutrition that we need and then some. And so, Mara, if we're ready to share the screen, amazing. I am going to comment, or I'm gonna say like all of us are gonna be able to say our blessing together. And whether you're unmute, or I guess they can't unmute, but in your things, in your homes with as much energy as possible, we're gonna say our blessings over the study of Torah together. So we're gonna say Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asuk b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage, to immerse, to really la'asuk. I always joke it's to soak in, right, with words of Torah. And so hopefully that's what we're going to do today. I mean today finding the good in consumption, satiation, and blessing. And let's see what that looks like. Can we scroll down, Mara? Amazing. So, my first meme, just reading my good satisfaction responses. Hopefully we'll get some of those by the end of the class. My question, or the first 2 questions that you can answer, one or both, and I'm going to ask you to put them in the chat. What does it mean to be satisfied? And is there a difference between being satisfied and being content? What does it mean to be satisfied? And is there a difference between being satisfied and being content? I'm going to invite you to put some answers in the chat, and you're going to learn how I use my New York background to speak very quickly when I read them aloud. All right. Being satisfied, everything is in order, from Gail. To be happy, it's enough. I just like the idea that Joel is to be satisfied. Joel from Dallas, Texas is to be satisfied. Accepting that this is the best you're going to get. You have what you need. Content implies happiness. Content means okay. Okay. Your soul is at rest. Satisfied is good enough. Content is better than good enough. All right. Satisfied meaning you accept what you have. Content being happy with it. To not yearn for more. You're doing the best you can plus a little bit more, or maybe you have the best you can. Being content may not mean you're satisfied. Interesting. Okay. Equilibrium in your life. Enough is enough, which, by the way, is an excellent Barbra Streisand song, just in case anyone's ever heard it. I think they're different because you can be satisfied without being content, and you can, it sounds like from the comment before, be content without being satisfied. It's a question of degree. Michael, I'm interested to hear more about that if you want to put it into the chat. Being satisfied with your portion, that is true. There's a Pirkei Avot in chapter 4, Mishnah 1 that says, who is happy? One that's content with their portion. Content is more long-term for you than satisfaction, Jay says. Awesome. Can't get no satisfaction. Ugh. Hopefully that'll change by the end, but it's a great song. I appreciate it. Content is a state of internal peace, satisfied in the moment. Content is long-term. Okay. Being in gratitude. If you're fully content, you're fully satisfied. Some people might argue that. In fact, they have in the chat. Satisfied is acceptance. Content is gratitude. Love it. Content is without worry. Ugh, Renee, I would love for that to be my world. Content with no worry. Can you imagine, Mara? No worries, no anxiety, no nothing. Just being grateful for what you have. Satisfaction, Renee says, is fleeting. And Gail says satisfied equals having what we need. Content is purring like a cat. Good. I'm glad my meme kind of led to a good comment too. Beautiful. All right. Can we scroll? Oh, and there's a cat sticker on it. This is amazing. Who knew? Satisfaction is having done your best. It's satiety. The work was meaningful. The mission's accomplished. Amazing. Contentment means being happy with what you have. Content means fully happy versus satisfied, meaning okay, not really fully. Thank you, Michael, for kind of extending that. We're going to move forward a little bit to our actual Torah portion today, right? To our place that we're going to be. And so here we have in Deuteronomy, and by the way, I understand the portion starts in Deuteronomy 7:12, but here's the deal. Deuteronomy 7 is not always the happiest because it talks about fighting our enemies and it talks about like wiping people out of the land. And I really I wanted to focus a little bit on some of the good this week. And maybe that's gonna come up in this Torah study as well, finding the good and focusing on the good. Rev Earl just keeps going to my favorite song. It's going well. All right, so in here we have Deuteronomy 8:7-9. He Adonai Elohecha, because your God Adonai Miviacha el Aretz Tova is gonna bring you to this great land, to this really good place. Sounds good to me. All right. Eretz Nachale Mayim Ayanot Utehomot Yotzim Babikia Uvahar. That there's going to be a land, and that land is going to have streams, and it's going to have, streams of water, and it's going to have springs, and it's going to have fountains coming out of it, all of it. And all of these are going to come out of our valleys and of our mountains, our hilltops. By the way, in case anyone's not clear, one of the biggest blessings that we have, water. One of the biggest things we pray for on a regular basis, water. And so when we do our Amidah, in the middle of our Amidah, in our winter, we say, Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hagashem, that the wind's going to blow and the rain's going to fall. Right now, we're in the summer until Sukkot, and we say Morid Hatal, that the idea that dew is going to come down, we are always praying for water. So here in this land, the first blessing we're getting is that we're going to have a lot of water coming out of every place we look. Amazing. Right? Eretz Hita, Ushara, V'gefen, Utiena, V'rimon, Eretz Zait, Shemen, Udavash. Oh my goodness, it's almost like we just got all of our 7 species just in this particular place. That's crazy. I live in Arizona. We're also very concerned about water. All right, Lois, I know that when we pray for water, it's usually praying for water in Israel. Tonight, when I say Morid Hatal, I'm going to be thinking about Arizona. Just saying. I'm going to be thinking about Arizona. So in this land, we're going to have wheat. We're going to have barley. We're going to have, I know it says vines. We're going to have grapes, right? I know it says vines. It's fine. We're going to have grapes. We're going to have figs. We're going to have pomegranates. We're going to have olives. We're going to have honey. It's going to be amazing. New York City has the best tasting water in the world. That's why it has the best bagels, for anyone that's ever curious. I may have just started a fight there. I'm so sorry. All right. So, right? Eretz asher lo b'miskenut tochal ba lechem lo taksar kolba. A land where you're going to be able to eat anything you want without any real issues. And you're going to be able to consume any food without any lack, without any issues, right? Kol ba eretz asher avanecha brazel u maharerecha tachatzov nechoshet. A place that rocks are like iron and the mountains you can mine copper from, meaning you're going to have all of the minerals and you're going to have all of the things that you're going to really, really need, plus water. Wow, I'm amazed at just me. All right, so Louisville apparently has the best water. Andrea, sorry if I mispronounced, says no meats mentioned. It's grain and fruit that makes it great. Western Canada apparently has the best water. And Rob is a little bit just, I think, tongue-in-cheek saying no one ever ate a Kentucky bagel. but it's probable that someone probably did eat a Kentucky bagel. I'm just putting it out there. I don't want us read. Our first GIF, Mara. All right, where's it from? Everyone shoot it in the chat. Where's it from? I will never be satisfied. I will never be satisfied. That's your hint, but also just the picture of her. 2 points for anyone. Hamilton, thank you. Esther wins it. Esther got the first answer. All right, what are some of the dangers of being too satisfied? What are some of the issues? Mara's already going ahead, so like the Hebrew, but what are some of the challenges we might have for being too satisfied? Complacency, Gail says. Okay, Ginger agrees. You take things for granted. Mike, I love bourbon. This isn't the time, but I agree. All right. Expecting more, stagnation, complacency. A lot of people are just jumping in complacency. Not caring about injustices against others and yourselves. Not being grateful to God, Sheila, that's going to come up in just a moment. Reverend Earl Coteen says bloat, self-satisfied, laziness, complacency. Ugh, Angela says haughtiness and arrogance. Mara, these people are too smart. They don't need me. Accepting the status quo as normal. Always a challenge. Always a challenge. No motivation to improve anything or make progress. Yeah, if you're too satisfied, could be surprised by a challenging event, right? You're not ready for change. You're kind of just stuck. You're like, everything's good. Thumbs up. Don't need anything else. You do need some other stuff. It's true. All right, so our Torah portion also kind of throws for that, right? It says, just so you know, I'm going to give you this good stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give you this great stuff even. And hold on a minute. In Deuteronomy 8:11-14, it says, Hishamer lecha pen tishkach et Adonai Elohecha. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Be careful. Right? You can imagine this huge caution blinking sign. I can't do it without the diamond shape, but hopefully you guys can vision it in your head. But this huge caution sign saying, hey, hold up a minute, be careful, lest, good word, you forget Adonai your God, levilti shomor mitzvotav. And you totally are just like, I don't have to do his mitzvot no more. Like, I don't have to do any of God's mitzvot because, like, who needs God, right? Like, whatever. Umishpatav and all of his statutes, v'chukotav and all the laws, asher anochi mitzavach hayom, that I commanded you upon this day, I being God, not Rabbi Weiss being God, but I in the text being God. Pen tuchal v'savata uvatim tovim tivne v'yashavta. When you've completely like consumed and you're so satiated, you're sated, and you have all these great houses that you built and you're dwelling, you might get a little too comfortable. You might get a little too complacent. You might get a little forgetful about how this came to be, right? Uvacharcha v'tzonecha yirbuyon v'chesed v'zachav yirbelach, right? And you have all of these animals. You have like the cows, you have the flocks, you have the sheep, you have all of the bulls, you have everything you need. And also, just in case you're curious, if you weren't rich enough in land and houses and animals, also, right? Give me my money is the newest TikTok trend, right? You know, and so you also have all of these riches, right? You have all this gold and you have all this silver and it's multiplied. The chol asher lach your bet and everything that you own. You've got the Midas touch. It's not all turning to gold because that's not so good for you, but everything that you put your thought into is just going, it's exploding with success, right? And God's saying, hey, like this is going to be good, but also like don't forget me. Don't forget God. Like, you have to be careful. Why? V'ram levavecha v'shahata et Adonai Elohecha. Because it's possible that in your hearts, it might get so high that you forget Adonai your God. Hamotziacha me'eretz Mitzrayim. You remember that God that's the one that took you out of Egypt? Right? Mi beit avadim, that took you out of slavery. You're so rich now. You're so up here now. Did you forget? Did you forget? Like Drake, we started from the bottom, now we here, right? You can't forget. You have to be able to remember where you came from. And so in here, God's saying, hey, I get that like good things are going to come to you, but be careful because you might forget where you came from. And you shouldn't. It's not good for us. All right, Mara, we'll scroll down. By the way, this is the meme for this. I did it all by myself. We didn't need God. I did all by myself. So what are we forgetting here? Right? For anyone that didn't notice, I tricked you. Mary's going to say, what? Rabbi Weiss would never trick anyone, but I did. Because if you notice, I gave you 8, 7 to 9. And I gave you 8, 11 to 14. And so we were missing one verse. And the most important verse probably, or the most quoted verse, I think, from Parashat Ekev often, is this verse, Deuteronomy 8:10, right? Which says, V'achalta, v'savata, uvarakta et Adonai Elohecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach. When you have eaten your fill, give thanks to your God Adonai for the good land given to you. So I said, and by the way, in case anyone's ever curious, I do all my own typing, so that's why I'll say will own. It's a really Americanized translation. It's not really what it says, and so I'm going to try to break it down for a minute. To va'achalta, v'savata, uvarakta, is and you will eat, and you will be satisfied or satiated, and you will bless. Yes, Paula. What was in the meme? The one above was just I did it all by myself. Was just the joke of like what we might say if we get too content or too satisfied. So Paula, it is part of the after meaning. Renee says we're blind at times thinking we had the reins, our free will with making decisions. Sometimes we just forget that it's not, we're not in it by ourselves. All right, all of which is to say, we're supposed to be doing what? Mara, feel free to go down to our next meme. Thank you. Right? We're supposed to be saying, thank you, our blessings. Why does it matter that we should be the ones to bless God? In this, we're supposed to say, okay, God's supposed to be blessing us. Why does it matter that we return the favor? Let's put it into the chat. Okay, forgetting God translates to forgetting to do God's work in the world. Rosalind says we should always be grateful. It's a polite thing to do. My mom would agree. Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after the meal, is most important, right? Because it could be really easy to do hamotzi before the meal, eat, and then be like, bye, I gotta go. That's a good thing to remember. Gratitude. Sheila says we should always be in a relationship. Jeffrey says manners. Gratitude. Humility, anava, Deborah, it's a mitzvah. It's also a midah. Humility, anava, is a midah. It's a characteristic that we try to emulate. Beth says it's a relationship. Don't neglect it. And Betsy says gratitude is a way of cultivating connection. I love that. Cultivating connection to the part of us that's part of everything. God sneezes. Bless you. I agree. Not everybody does say bless you when you sneeze. It's true. Appreciation. Do we bless God or do we remind ourselves that God is blessed? Because baruch is a passive verb versus livarech, to bless, livarech. But when we say, right, baruch, it does mean blessed is God. Jay says, as a reminder, when you love, you want to give love in return. It's a really great Moulin Rouge quote as well. Amazing. No problem, Deborah. In it together. to remember we have nothing without Hashem, that we shouldn't forget about others. Our own happiness needs a sense of gratitude. It also encourages the midday, the midah of humility. Thanks, Gail. Sorry, I had to do that quick change in my brain. The midah of humility, anava. Okay, so here I put in hakarat hatov, finding the good, right? That's the title of our session today. Finding the good in consumption and satiation and blessing. So hakarat hatov, people translate constantly as gratitude, embodying this attitude of gratitude, thumbs up, right? But genuinely, literally means either recognizing or seeing the good. Now, here's the interesting piece about that. That goes, you do say, that's true. In Hebrew, you say labriut, to your health. You don't say bless you. But here's the interesting piece about hakarat hatov. It goes against everything we know as human beings biologically. Now, what does that mean? We're hardwired biologically to notice when things are wrong, when things are different, when things don't quite fit the mold. So I'm going to ask for everyone to do me a favor, and I'm going to do a quick look. If you have ever gotten a lot of compliments on something you've done, and you've had one negative comment on something you've done, right? I'm just going to look at everybody's kind of things. If you only focused or majorly focused on that one negative comment versus all the positive comments, I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up. Just give me a thumbs up. I'm looking at your cameras. I'm seeing them. So, right? If you've ever gotten a ton of good feedback, but you got one piece, and it wasn't even super negative feedback. It could have been like just mid feedback, and you focus there. Let me see a thumbs up. Right? And the reason why is because, again, I'm sorry for all the clicking. I'm going all the way back to Mara. The reason why is we're biologically wired for it, right? It's what keeps us safe, the ability to see when something's wrong. So hakarat hatov is, by the way, not only a beautiful midah and a beautiful piece that we should do of trying to recognize the good, but more importantly, it's a challenge to go against our inner nature. Right? I always used to say, and this was one of my favorite things, is why are there rules? And the answer that I used to get a lot of the time was because we need to be in a civil society, because we need to treat each other well. And then I would look and I go, okay, sure, fine. But why are there don't walk on the grass signs? Just a quick challenge to everybody. Why is there a don't walk on the grass sign? Anyone put it in the chat. To avoid making ruts, okay, to protect the grass, respect of nature. I'm waiting for my answer. I have an answer I'm waiting for. Respect. All these are good answers. Not the answer I'm looking for. Need rules how to behave, biologically wired, socially conditioned, remind you to do the right thing. Ah, Andrea answered it. Because somebody walked on the grass, guys. Because somebody did it. Because someone did it. My favorite rule ever, Mara, I'm getting way off scope, but it's okay. We'll get back to it, I promise. My favorite bylaw ever in one of the oldest synagogues in the country, I learned this a long time ago. There was a bylaw, and the bylaw read, you cannot sing off key. I want you to think about this for a second, that someone had to sing so loudly and so poorly that the temple made a bylaw about it. Because otherwise that bylaw wouldn't exist. So why do rules exist? Because usually either we did the thing that we weren't supposed to do, or we didn't do the thing that we were supposed to do. Right? And so here, Hakarat HaTov is a great mitzvah because internally we tend to not be there. I know the question on here was biologically conditioned, biologically wired or socially conditioned. It is actually biologically wired. It is something that it is to keep us safe. That's why we notice things that are not in the ordinary. I love it. That's how good landscape architects plan paths. They look where people cut across the grass. Don't tell anybody. I do it all the time. I don't pay attention to the signs. Don't worry, it's not being recorded. So no one will ever hear me say that out loud ever, because this is never, ever going to be recorded.
This is
All
recorded.
right. I know. Mara, why would you tell them that? And so, no, so for posterity, I guess everyone will know that sometimes I don't listen to signs and I'm the reason that those rules exist. Me and Andrea, best friends, breaking the rules. All right, so I'm gonna put this question in, and then I'm gonna let Mara put us back to our shared screen. In what ways can achieving satisfaction in life lead to complacency, like we talked about? And how can we ensure that we're trying to remain grateful and grounded in our values? How can we be hashtag blessed, just like our meme, hashtag blessed? Moda ani, blessing every morning that our soul comes back to us. Beautiful. And I'll throw in some, at my temple every single Friday, we do Modim moments where the whole congregation share, somebody from the congregation will share a win and the whole congregation will respond, Modim anachnu la. Literally, we thank you. A gratitude journal. We remind ourselves where it all came from. Esther, you're going to do real well with this Torah portion this week. Moving it back to Genesis, remembering that we're all but dust and ashes and right sizing. Kathy, thanks for that throwback to Abraham. Tzedakah, giving to others. Hashbon hanefesh. Sorry, Jenny, I missed that before. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, we're going to move forward. Accepting our inevitable iniquities, yearn to learn and change. Basically, Renee is saying, hey, we're kind of messed up and we do things that are just always going to be messed up because that's part of who we are. And also, we should not be stuck in that and we should try to learn and we should try to change. Miriam says getting out of ourselves. I think that those go nicely together. So on this verse, we have Sforno, who generally I like because Sforno tends to, like Ibn Ezra, keep it real and just kind of, I would say, keep it simpler than some. So Ovadia Sforno was an Italian rabbi. And by the way, thought was pretty cool. Like actually was admired by, the kings of France. And so generally I like him because he keeps things a little bit shorter. By the way, I'm going to hit some of these comments a little later. Sforno says that the whole point of this verse, Uvarakta et Adonai Elohecha, is this idea of what we said before from 9 to 11, that we're not really supposed to forget God and we're not really supposed to forget our foundation. So the reason why God blesses us in such a fashion is so that we're not going to forget, so that we're on the opposite, al-hahafak, right? That we're supposed to remember that only from God could we have been given a land with such an abundance of advantages. And so beautiful. Before I move to our very last piece, I just want to go back to our chat and make sure that everybody is getting a shout out. Every day is a blessing from God. Doing some volunteer work might be a way to keep us grounded. Not thinking less of ourselves, but thinking less often about ourselves. Susie, what a beautiful thought. I like it. Full bank account, full belly, wonderful family, being charitable, learning Torah, all makes for satisfaction. Rob, I love it that's in Kemach in Torah kind of mood of if you have no food, you're going to have no learning. Do a good turn daily by the brownies. I like it. I was never a brownie, but I appreciate that. There are 2 prayers in the morning service. We say that's true. And often they go together. And by the way, if ever you want to hear a beautiful medley of them both, Debbie Friedman wrote a beautiful medley for one, Asher Yatzar, and the second, Elohai Neshama, which are the 2 prayers that Martin is talking about. Everything comes from God. I'm sorry, Richard, I apologize. I missed that you weren't Rob, but that you are in Rob's place. That Rob is a proxy for your name right now. I apologize for misnaming you. All right, I think we're going to move to our last source just to kind of talk about it. And then, Mara, I'll open it up for questions like I always do, because why not? And it's a good way to get into conversation with all my favorite people. All right, so when I was looking up a way to kind of place this, I came across this amazing essay, which, by the way, does speak to this particular Torah portion. You can find it on Safaria. Gratitude, Hakarat Hatov, is at the heart of what he has to say about the Israelites and their future in the promised land. Gratitude, in case we forget, often is not really the Israelites' strong point in the desert. They're not super about gratitude. They're super about kvetching. They complain about lack of food and water, about the manna and the lack of meat and vegetables, about the dangers they faced from the Egyptians as they were leading, and about the inhabitants of the land they're about to enter. We're not happy about where we came from. We're not happy about where we are. We're not happy about where we're going, right? Great. They lacked thankfulness during the difficult times. A greater danger still, said Moses, would be a lack of gratitude during the good times. Because my hope is that we'll have some gratitude during the good times. I hope that you're able to use this particular source and able to just be able to be happy with it, right? Be able to kind of source your own gratitude. And so one piece that I would ask as we're coming to the end about this is, I think, let's see if I can give a fun prompt. Let's see. If we could have a question, I'm just looking at my things of what I want. Could you please share one blessing that you're grateful for and one hope that you're looking forward to this Shabbat? Feel free to put it in the chat and I'm going to look at it and then I'm going to open it up for questions at the same time because that way everybody should hopefully be putting something into the chat.
Rabbi, can you just repeat your 2 questions one more time?
I can even type it in.
Amazing.
Just make it helpful. Could you please share one blessing you're grateful for and one hope that you're looking forward to? Or more clearly, as I'm not typing it at the same time, could you please share one blessing you're grateful for and one hope you're looking forward to? Sorry, that was one of those moments. Health, leadership's more about building up others than some like to contemplate. I agree with you, Beth. It's one of my favorites. Grateful for safety after not having it, hoping for increased community connection. Angela, I hope that you're finding some of that in this community. I always find them to be warm and welcoming, and hopefully you're bringing some friends in there too. Grateful for everything I have, hope for the hostages to be released. Kenya here at Zone. Grateful home, good health, peace, blessings for a new comfortable home. Looking forward to husband coming home again. Shall I hope that soon? Barry says, living in a free country. Eileen says, just gratitude. Betsy's working on gratitude. Man, tell me about it, right? It's a practice, gratitude practice. I'm happy that we are in politics, although I'm not sure I'm allowed to speak to politics, but that's fine. And so I'm going to say, cool. Grateful for my farm, looking for hope and financial security. Grateful that my son has a good time at his dad's house. Eleanor, I love that. I love the parenting partnership. Peace, improved health, health and hostage releases. Always looking forward to studying. Mike, wonderful. Modet ani, being happy just to be thankful. Peace within humanity is the hope. Being pleasant, being happy for immediate health and hopefully looking forward to a positive election outcome. Blessing children tonight at Shabbat dinner. Grateful that everybody's healthy. Wonderful grandchildren. Mazel, Scott, and the wonderful grandchildren. Susie, grateful that even at your age 71, you can still learn and grow. I think that at my age, which is 37, that I can also still learn and grow. Thankful for the blessing of Jeffrey. Wonderful. Having your wife's cancer protocol here in town makes you have a refuah shlema and may her health absolutely be restored, thinking towards her as well. I'm grateful for health and settling a new home, grateful for good friends, and looking forward to leading services, Rosalind. Okay, she can come here and lead them. That's fine. For your community's early Shabbat, mazels, good luck, b'chatzlacha. You're going to do great, though. I know you're going to do great. Grateful for the opportunity to reflect on gratitude as a regular practice. Happy 12th birthday to a puppy because that's wonderful. I'm grateful to be able to have loved your mom and praying to learn how to forgive. Kimberly, I would argue that that's also a process. Grandchildren, grandson's second birthday. Look at all these grandchildren, by the way, Mara. That's exciting. I'm grateful that everyone's trying to help Rob change his Zoom name. Richard changed the Zoom name from Rob to Richard. It's really I like it. All right, grateful everybody's here. Wonderful. I have a few more minutes. If anyone wants to shoot a question in the chat, I'm happy to try to answer it. Otherwise, like we'll just chill and I will try to not make jokes for the entire 8 minutes that we have left. It's a challenge. Questions, thoughts, concerns, or jokes? Go ahead, make a. Oh, no. I love it. Please do make jokes. Wow. I opened this very poorly, Mara. This was like a not good.
We're looking for the good.
We're looking for the good.
See-
I don't know that my jokes are gonna be good, but we would try. Have I written any books, Rabbi? I have not written any books. I did write a thesis for rabbinical school, which can be found through the HEC library and might be able to be found by the Library of Congress. I don't really know how that works when you publish. On Martin Buber and how his theories, philosophies could be read into pediatric chaplaincy. Can I please? Oh, somebody already posted it. Thank you. Mara already posted it. Thanks, Mara. Raful Shlema, I'm glad that you're recovering from COVID. Please be kind to yourself. Did I hear about the new food delivery service? Oh, Gail, I don't know if there's a punchline for this. Did I hear about the new food delivery service that brings a Hasidic tale with each order? Boober Eats. It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. It was Gail's. It was good though. I liked it. I liked it. Um, Amazing. Um, I heard recently, I don't know if it's appropriate, so hopefully it's okay. It's a little risque, so I'm gonna try it. So I heard recently, what did the fish say when it swam into a wall? Damn. That was a cute one that I thought was funny recently. Thank you, Diane. Diane agrees that it was cute.
I was just relieved that that was your version of risque.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Right.
Very demure. Very we're trying to be very demure in our risque. Um, I love it. Okay. I guess my question is any other questions? I need a fish meme. I wasn't ready for a fish. I wasn't ready to tell jokes. I'm very mindful. Thank you, Alexandra, for getting all my TikTok references today. Um,
So if anyone wants to add a question to the chat, keep feeling free to do that. We have 5 minutes, so if anyone has a burning question that they'd like to share in their own voice, we can also use the raise hand feature. And I like that Ellen is asking culinary questions. Our partner brand, The Nosher, may be able to give you some better answers about the difference between smoked meat and pastrami. I don't know if our Torah study is gonna link.
Wait, hold on. I 1000% chat GPT'd it. 1 second. Hold on. Because I like didn't know the answer, but right, the answer is if you don't know that you can find out. So chat GPT is writing like a whole dissertation on it. But apparently there's a difference in origin. Smoked meat is often associated with Montreal, Canada. Pastrami is often associated with, you guessed it, New York City. Cut of meat, smoked meat is usually made from beef brisket. Pastrami is usually made from the navel end of beef brisket. Preparation, smoked meat, the brisket's generally brined in spiced saltwater solution, then coated with a mix of spices, including black peppercorns and coriander. Pastrami is brined in a spice solution, but that spice rub often includes garlic, coriander, black pepper, paprika, cloves, allspice, and mustard seed. You did not expect me to be able to do this, but I'm ready. I'm always prepped.
Thank you. And apologies to all the vegetarians out there that are now getting a deli lesson.
What's my view of organized religion? What should be organized? This was a doorknob question. What's my view of organized religions? Here's the reality about organized religions, right? In the same way that you can have everything organized in your system, I think that organized religions do best when they review their organizations. And what that means is like sometimes things work for a while, and then all of a sudden you realize that maybe you outgrew it, or maybe you don't need something anymore, or maybe you like need something different or something additional. And so I think in terms of organization and organized religions, as long as they are constantly doing kind of their own cheshbon nefesh, right? Their own ability to note what's going on. I think that they can do a lot of good in the world. I think that as long as they don't stay stagnant or stay complacent, then that could be like a really beautiful thing. Why is it said that Jewish people fetch in the wilderness? Miriam, I think generally it's because a lot of the time I agree with you, it's harsh conditions, but a lot of the time, what would end up happening, and what happens now, I think today too, is that when things are hard, people are less upset that they're hard and more looking for a person to blame. And in our Torah, a lot of the time when we have people talking about the Israelites quetching, the idea is actually that they kahal sometimes, like they came together as a group and they rose up against Abraham, or against Abraham, excuse me. They rose up against Aaron and or Moses. And a lot of the time is it didn't work so well. What about manna? I've got nothing to say about the spice blend on manna. I'm really sorry. I can tell you the origin is apparently from God, from heaven, but I got nothing about the spice blend or the preparation. You're the best. Tell my temple. I am really lucky to have Temple Isaiah. I love it here. They're great. But I'll let them know that a group of people told me that I'm good to be here. Is Judaism a religion? Uh, Depends on who you ask, but if you ask Avram Infeld, he'll say Judaism is not a religion, and he'll yell it at you again and repeat himself, and he'll go, Judaism is not a religion, and then he'll say, how do I know? My father told me so. I've heard this speech a lot. The answer is Judaism is what you make it. Kind of like money. It puts what value that you put on it. And I would say that it can be a religion, it can be a people, it can be a community, it can be a culture, it can be a belief system, it can be any number of things. But Judaism is whatever value you place on it. And I will say that one of the reasons I became a rabbi is so that people could take ownership of their own Judaism in their own terms, in their own time. Mira came off mute, which means that I think that I'm probably done speaking.
In our last minute, I've been putting our rabbis on the spot and asking them to give a
Children.
blessing or an intention for everyone going into Shabbat.
Okay, well,
So I'm gonna do
this
that to you now.
I got it. I did understand. If you'll bear with me, this is because I brought up my thesis on Boober and pediatric chaplaincy. So I love Alana Arian, who can be found on Spotify and who is an incredible musician. And one of the things that she does a lot of the time is sing a really beautiful song where the chorus is "Can you hear God's own?" And so the words that she sings is may you be safe. May you be free. May you find space to just be. Can you hear Adson? Can you hear Adson? May you find your way back home. Can you hear Adson? Can you hear Adson? May you find your way back home. May every place that you go and may everything that you do make you feel like you are at home. And may this Shabbat be a home, sheltered place for you where you feel at peace. That is my blessing and intention for all of you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi. Thank you all for being here. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Bye-bye.
Shabbat Shalom.